Hello, alongside Ryan Sir, I'm Don Helbig, and welcome to the Pick Six, the podcast of the Attractions Group, where we bring you the latest and greatest stories from around the world of attractions and amusement.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. You can listen to us on all your favorite podcast apps, Apple, Google, Spotify, and we have a video version on YouTube. Make sure you follow us on Twitter/X at attractions underscore
All right.
GRP. Awesome.
And we're taking you to the icy wilderness of SeaWorld Orlando, where a thrilling new adventure awaits. Get ready for Penguin Trek. It's a B&M family launch coaster with speeds reaching up to 43 miles per hour, but that's not all. After your exhilarating ride, you'll find yourself immersed in a real penguin habitat, coming face to beak with these incredible creatures. Designed for all ages, this coaster is set to open its doors in the spring of 2024.
Yeah. Exciting. They had that Penguin Encounter Dark ride for a while, which was cool because it was trackless, but I don't think it really hit home with a lot of people. So this ride looks really cool. They invited some media and influencers out to take a look at it and get a preview. And so it's going to be a little B&M family coaster. It's going to be fun.
A lot of fun, and I like the idea of coming face to beak with the animals.
Yeah, face to beak. All right, let's head over to Pennsylvania, where a proposed bill could make April 28th, 2024 a special day. State Representatives Robert Ledbetter, alongside Joanne Steer and Michael Stender, have proposed Knoebels Amusement Park Day in Pennsylvania. Despite facing six devastating floods in the past 50 years, Knoebels Amusement Park has not only survived but thrived. It's the country's largest free admission amusement park, offering free parking, free entertainment, and free picnic areas, continuing to serve 1.4 million guests per year. And I've heard they've got a heck of a set of flying scooters. What do you think about
They
that?
do. Flying scooters, I think that is far and away the best in the industry. You're not going to find a better flying scooters than you're going to have at Knoebels. The food's pretty good. You know, they've won golden tickets for best food. And they got this amazing roller coaster. It's a wooden coaster called the Phoenix. The Knoebels family, just great, great people. Dick Knoebels, he's a legend in the industry. If you've not been to Knoebels, what are you waiting for? This is going to take you back to the old days of the amusement park industry. You're going to feel like you're back in like the 30s and 40s. You know, the way they do this, where it's free admission. You can walk around the park, do whatever you want, and then you pay for the attractions that you want to ride. So, just an amazing park. Really make an effort to try to get there next summer because I think you'll fall in love with Knoebels.
Yeah, they have the flying turns, right? Isn't that them?
They do. They do have the flying turns, golden ticket, 2014.
Yeah, so Flying Turns was a bobsled coaster that was built in house, and it took about a decade for them to get it all shored up. I think, right?
It took a long time to get it ready to go, so it was almost like the lifetime achievement award when they won that golden ticket. But no, that was a fun ride, and a lot of work went into that. But just a really special place, and I really wish I could get there more often than I've been.
Yeah.
All
What's
right, our
next?
third story. It takes us to Arlington, Texas, where a simple idea from a sports photographer in 1997 has transformed into one of the most influential trade publications in the amusement industry. Of course, we're talking about Amusement Today, owned and published by Gary Slade. Gary was recently honored with two prestigious accolades, including induction into the New England Association of Amusement Parks and Attractions Hall of Fame and the World Water Park Association Hall of Fame for his 27 years of service to the water park industry. Gary's a great guy, good friend of mine. Congratulations to Gary on these honors.
Yeah, and obviously I would argue the biggest contribution is the Golden Ticket Awards, and that's one of my favorite nights of the year. Celebrating all the accomplishments of all the parks and stuff. So, yeah, I'm glad that they're recognizing him. It's very cool. Yep. So, story number four. This is one I'm glad that it's my read because I've been excited about this. So, Disney fans, get ready for the second season of Behind the Attractions on Disney Plus. This docuseries takes you on a deep dive into iconic Disney attractions, from Pirates of the Caribbean to Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. It also explores broader topics like Disney's nighttime spectaculars and the delicious food served throughout the parks and resorts. It's a must see for all theme park enthusiasts. Let me ask you this, Don. So I'm excited because my understanding is that the one that's about like Epcot in general talks a lot about Spaceship Earth, which is like my favorite thing ever. But do you, especially with Disney, where a lot of it is kind of enthralled in the magic, do you like knowing too much, or would you rather have the magic remaining intact?
I like these behind the scenes looks and learning what makes the magic. I'm interested in that. Um, Behind the attraction, which is going to be on Disney Plus, as you mentioned, it's a can't miss. I think if you're a Disney, not only if you're a Disney Parks fan, but just a fan of the industry, you want to watch this. You're going to learn a lot. And it's really, great that they're sharing that with their fans.
Yeah, yeah. I completely agree. I saw the whole first season. I actually watched about 3 episodes. Not three because it wasn't that long, but I watched 2 episodes on the way to Disney on the airplane, so that was kind of fun. I watched the episode about the castles, which is fascinating. And then I think I watched one on the monorails. That was the other one. But have you seen any of these yet?
Now, what about you?
Oh,
I have,
I
and I'm going to ask you now. You asked me the question. Do you like having it spoiled like that, or would you rather not know?
I used to feel differently about this when it came to Disney. I was offered at one point, like, "Hey, we can give you a backstage tour of Haunted Mansion," and I declined it because I didn't want to know how it worked. To be honest with you, that was like forever ago. It was like more than 10 years ago. But especially nowadays, I care so much more about how things happen and why things happen, so much more than what actually happens, that yes, I completely thrive on this. I want to know how it works. I want to know why they did it. And I want to know what their thought process was. Absolutely. Yeah. All right.
Yep, can't wait to see it. All right, now it's time to spread some holiday cheer at one of my favorite parks, Kennywood. The park is kicking off its Holiday Lights event earlier than planned. They're going to move up to November 18th. It features more than 2 million twinkling lights, the tallest Christmas tree in Pennsylvania, and a brand new Santa experience in Thomastown. Plus, extended hours, a holiday menu, scavenger hunts, and exciting entertainment awaits visitors. I have a Kennywood season pass. I'm going to definitely go experience this event.
Yeah, I've heard their holiday event is awesome. Have you been to it before?
I have not been to the holiday event. I have been to their Halloween event, but it's been years. But it, it looks really impressive. I've seen different photos of it, seen some YouTube videos. Looks like it's very well done.
Yeah, I completely agree. Okay. So, and this one is going to be the one that kind of rocks people, but and you kind of discovered this by listening to the Holiday World podcast. On a recent episode, the host discussed Holiday World's new roller coaster, Good Gravy, which is opening in 2024, and also mentioned that Kings Island's new Camp Snoopy Kids area featuring Snoopy Soapbox Racers. They loved the cute theme of Kings Island and revealed that Vekoma, the manufacturer of both rides, kept things hush hush about where the other Vekoma boomerangs were going. One thing Vekoma did share with them, they said, was that Holiday World's coaster would open first. Good Gravy is set to debut at the park when it opens in 2024 on May 4th. So, if that's true, that means that Snoopy Soapbox Racers, per an edict from Vekoma, will not open with the park. Assuming it's true, if you were the PR person, Don, how would you handle this?
Well, I think if that's the case, you just got to be honest and transparent with your guests and just say, it's not going to open until after, whenever it might be, May 4th. Um, you don't want to just make everyone think it's going to be ready to go opening day if you know that it's not.
Would you be transparent about like we can't open until this other one opens? Because it seems like that's kind of absurd.
Well,
But
it's out there. I mean, it's definitely out there. That would be the reason. And I don't think you want to try to um, fool the public. They can listen to that podcast like I did and hear that if that's the case. Now we don't know. I mean, that was just said on the podcast. Um, but yeah, I mean, if that's the situation, I think you want to let everyone know that it won't open with the park, in April. No, I've not seen their 2024 operating calendar. I don't even know that they'll open in April. You don't know until you
Mm.
see it. But I would just be, transparent with your guests and your pass holders, and just, let them know it'll open at some point, spring 2024, and just leave it at that.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. This is such an interesting story because it's definitely a David versus Goliath situation with a big juggernaut. I mean, forget the whole Cedar Fair thing, which puts it way over the edge. But Kings Island as a whole is 3 times the size of Holiday World, from more than 3 times with attendance. And Holiday World is able to put a stop to their opening day attraction potentially. But it'll be interesting if we were ever able to find out. Let's say it does open with the park, how that was resolved. And I'm not entirely certain that Holiday World would have a whole lot to gain by Kings Island having to wait. Can you? I mean, can you think of anything?
I think just to say that you're the first boomerang to open in the country, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, but does that I don't think that holds a ton of water, but yeah, I mean, it's such a bad position for Vekoma to be in. You got Holiday World, you got Kings Island, a couple 100 miles apart from each other. They're now, to be clear, the rides are not clones; they're custom layouts, but they're essentially the same ride model. From an outsider standpoint, they're probably identical. Um, but not to be able to communicate that to each park, like, "Hey, just to let you know, this is going on." Um, that's that I don't envy the Vekoma people for what they had to
Yeah,
go
I mean, they
through.
were they were very clear when they were, in development for this ride, that Vekoma, was not, giving them, the information on where the other ones would be going. So you know, that I think if you're Vekoma, if you're somebody that's looking to work with them, I think you'd like the fact that they don't talk to everybody, that they can keep things under wraps. I think that's impressive.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many, especially when you and I had to be kind of like adversaries so many times where I found out something, um, that was gonna happen at, Kings Island or another Cedar Fair park, and you're like, "Who told you that?" And it's like, well, there's a lot of people, a lot of hands. There's contractors, there's outside vendors. Like, if you know who to talk to, you're gonna get that one person that doesn't realize, "Oh, I'm not
Oh, you
supposed to be
do.
saying
Yeah,
that."
you do.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, but I think it's, I think, first of all, they're, I like the theme for both of them.
agreed.
So I think the guests that, attending both parks are going to have a lot of fun with these coasters. Good gravy. I always laugh when I keep watching that teaser video, and you just can't help but laugh about that. And Snoopy Soapbox Racers, the theming of that looks fantastic. It's going to be a great addition to the kids area. So for both parks, it's a win for the guests.
Yeah, and so for those of you who wanna listen to it, it's about halfway through the show, so it's not like it's right off the bat or at the end or anything, but it's the Holiday World Podcast. Just search for that on your favorite podcast apps. It's season 5, episode 17, the one where it's all gravy. It's actually a rather fascinating episode about the development of Good Gravy, and, the how they had to push up the announcement because stuff had leaked out, and all sorts of stuff, so I would check it out. Alright, so Don, I hate when we have to do a number 7, but we really have to do a number 7 tonight. According to Reuters, Six Flags and Cedar Fair are in talks of a merger. That is as much information as we have. As of this recording, we are about 12 hours, 13 hours out from Cedar Fair's Q3 conference call, in which the Reuters people think that there might be some sort of mention of it. We've been through this before. We've seen, well, first of all, with the Six Flags stuff, and then SeaWorld as well. And then when you were there, remember Apollo Global Management tried to buy it up. That was
Yes, I was there for three of these, you know, mergers, acquisitions, all those rumors that were going on.
yeah. So it's very interesting, and like we don't know enough to like speculate on whatever the corporate governance would be. But a lot of questions will remain. because one thing the first thing that you said when we were talking about this earlier is, so does this mean my Six Flags pass will get me into all the Cedar Fair parks now? Which, I mean, yeah, I mean, eventually it probably will. I remember when Paramount merged with Cedar Fair, you couldn't get into the Cedar Fair parks with your Paramount pass yet. The next year they came out with the Max Pass, which is the predecessor to the Platinum Pass, which is the predecessor to the All Parks Passport. Got to catch my breath here for a second. Um, but I wouldn't expect any changes like that immediately. But it would be very interesting. I mean, it would be coast to coast. They would have a lot more buying power. But the real question is, would the new company look a lot more like Six Flags, or would it look a lot more like Cedar Fair? That's just
I mean, it's yeah, it's a lot of fun for all the coaster fans and amusement park fans to in the media to speculate and talk about. It's fun to do that and go back and read what everyone's saying. But for me, I'm someone that until something actually happens, and when it's just they're in talks, they're this or that. I don't put too much into it until it actually happens.
yeah, yeah. I mean, obviously, it'll be interesting if it does, but I wouldn't burn the house down yet because again, we've seen this a lot. I mean, we're in strange times, so stranger things have happened, but I think we'll learn a lot more in the next 2 weeks or so about if they're going to move forward with it or if it's going to fall apart. Because it seems like, especially when they fall apart, you usually get about 4 days of a news cycle out of it before there's a punt on it. Let's put it that way. But
Yeah, I had several people message me today. Are you going to do a blog about this? You're going to, that's one of the things that, I'm not, going to write the rumor and speculation pieces and all those kind of things. I'm someone that if it does happen, then I'll take that information and I'll write something from that point of view. But, be an interesting next couple of days.
yeah, I agree. And if they do come out with this publicly, then we can probably let loose a little bit more because we both have to be careful not to speculate. Because our speculation might turn into these two experts said this or that. And that's not what we're doing here because we do not know anything more than anybody else. But, if they do announce it, we can probably speculate like this is probably what a season pass would look like and things like that as we come to know more because again.
Yeah. Then you'd have a little bit more to work with. Right now there's nothing to work with other than the rumblings. Oh, they're in talks. Okay, great. When it happens, then we'll move forward from there.
Absolutely. But so thanks for bearing with us. Again, we're as interested as you are. So looking forward to hearing more about that. So Don, what a pick six today. Pick seven today. Pick six and the point after, as I
Pick
call it.
6.5 or whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
Yeah, but no, it was I think a lot of good fun little topics for this one.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. Yeah. So make sure that you follow us on all your favorite podcast apps, Apple, Google, Spotify, etc. YouTube, search for the Attractions Group Podcast. What's the last one? Twitter, X, attractions_GRP. And Don, take us home.
All right. Well, everybody, we appreciate you listening. It wraps up this edition of the Pick Six. Stay tuned for more thrilling stories from the world of attractions and amusement on the next episode of the Attractions Group Podcast.
We'll see you next week, and there might be a lot that happens between now and next week. So we'll see you then, hopefully. All right.